Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Whalen. Um, I am the college minister here at Wallace Baptist Church. I've got a wife. We've been married for about 5 years. I've got a little boy. He's about 9 months old, and a dog. Her name is Lottie. I have been attending Wallace since spring of 2019, and I've been on staff as the part-time college minister since January of 2023. And I am really trying to step out in faith and do something that the Lord is calling me to do. It's not normal, but I have actually quit my full-time job, and I am pursuing this full-time ministry through support raising. And I want to share with you how you can help support me, but also partner with me in the gospel with what God is calling me to do. Interestingly, I wasn't really that involved in a college ministry during my time at Oklahoma Baptist. Um, I came into OBU, and uh, I hadn't really been discipled very much going into it, and I didn't really know, what it looked like to be a faithful member of the church. And so I just kind of church hopped, tried to find one that I liked what they were doing, but I was never really consistent, never really got plugged in anywhere. And really, that first year of my time at OBU, uh, it was one that was really um, spiritually destitute. There wasn't a lot going on. But between my freshman and sophomore year at OBU, I had this time of really intense growth where the Lord was calling me really closely to Him through my time working at False Creek. And while I was there, I met my best friend. I found accountability. I learned more about discipleship, and that was a thing that people even still did. And coming back from that, I felt in, this really important um, call to go and to make sure that those who were coming out of the same church that I did, that were coming out of the same place that I did, uh, came out of it knowing about discipleship and knowing how important it was um, to be discipled and to be learning all these great and wonderful things that I did. So I actually spent my sophomore year as an interim youth pastor at my home church, and then I got engaged, and so my junior year I started going to church with my fiance at the time, my wife now, and we went there for most of my junior year. The experience as a college student was pretty good. We had good leaders and things like that, but the church really wasn't in a very healthy place, and so that's when my wife and I decided that we needed to look for a church that was in a healthier place. And so, unfortunately, we had to leave that church. But God was working, and He brought us into Wallace. And Wallace was really this incredible family that really brought us in and wrapped us up. But when we came, we were already engaged, and so even though the college ministry here was doing awesome, and it was very healthy, and it was very vibrant, we didn't really get involved with that because we were already engaged. And so we joined the young adults class, and we were involved there for a while. But then the college minister at the time, he was a student at OBU, and he was leaving to go to seminary, and so he left, and pretty quickly the college ministry started to decline after he went to seminary. And I could see this happening, and I had a heart for these students, and so I approached our pastor Blake about doing college ministry, and at the time it just wasn't really the right timing. I had seen this need that I knew needed to be filled, but I was told that there was another need that also needed to be filled, and so I was asked to take over and lead our young adults class, as our leader at the time was going on to go and to pastor a different church. And so I stepped in, and I started leading this young adults class, and I led it for quite a while. Um, all the while, I just noticed that our student ministry, our college ministry, continued to kind of diminish and to fall apart, and it just wasn't really in a great place. Um, But over time, we had more people who were capable of teaching that became available or moved into the church. And so when Blake approached me and asked me about doing college ministry, um, I was very excited. I was ecstatic, because even though at first it was just something that I wanted to do because it was a need that I saw, it really kind of developed into a passion. I wanted college students to be able to have the same wonderful experience and knowledge about discipleship that had been graciously given to me, and so that is how I got involved in the college ministry. So when I started as college minister here at Wallace, I didn't really want to come in with um, this attitude like I could, change all these different things, and all of a sudden the college ministry was just going to be flourishing and everything was going to be great. Really, what I wanted to do that first year was mostly just to be a person for the students, because they really hadn't had that an adult that was just in the church and was there for them. They didn't really have anybody to look up to, and to look for when they needed things. And so I firstly just wanted to be that person for them. And second, I wanted to start to create a culture. And this culture for the college that I had envisioned was one where these students were learning to grow and to become healthy members of a local church body, but also that they knew how to serve and they were really unified with the rest of the church. I didn't want it to be Youth Group 2.0, where it was really fun and there was lots of games, but there still seemed to be some kind of a separation from the rest of the church. I really wanted to try to meld them in with the rest of the church. So I encouraged all of them to serve. I gave them examples and let them know of places that they could serve. At the time, there was only about 12 students in our college ministry. And this was a really easy culture to create, because many of the students that we had were already serving because this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to be a part of that unity of the church at large. They wanted to be invested in by everyone else. And so we really didn't do very much. We added just a couple things. We added some study nights, so that they had a place off campus where they could come and they could study and they could hang out and maybe play games when there was big exams like midterms or finals. And then we also started a Bible study at our house, where we just invited college students over to our house, and we started. We were walking through Colossians together, and this year we're going through James, and it has been absolutely fantastic working with these students. As we moved into our second year, we wanted to really push this culture of being a part of the local body and being united. And so we introduced our Adopt a Student program, where adults from our church could adopt our college students, and they would basically be that family, that home away from home, so that if they needed somebody, they had somebody that was there for them. And those adoptive parents would invite them over to their house for lunch or dinner, write them letters, check in on them, be involved with them whenever we had Wallace events. They were really meant to be there for those students, kind of as these parents away from their parents, to give them some kind of idea or a sense of belonging in the church. One of the main goals that I have for our college ministry is that they would become faithful disciple makers. And so I want them to learn what it looks like to go out and to make disciples, because that's a vital thing for them to know, not just for their own benefit, but for the benefit of the church and for the kingdom of God. And so I want to try to help them to learn more about discipleship, what it looks like, how to do it, and so that they can carry that on into whatever churches they go to next. It's been incredible, because I have just recently stepped away from the mental health field where my full-time employment was, and in this time I've already seen God be able to use the availability for the benefit of these students. I've had some that have reached out to me that have been asking for help learning about things like, hey, how do I battle this sin or this temptation, and can I meet with you, once a week? And I've been able to see and invest in students in ways that I just wasn't able to while I was working full time. And this is the kind of thing that I want to pursue, is to be able to be available for these students and to be able to really pour into them into the way that they deserve and that they need. On top of that, I also am really passionate about family ministry. And so I would love to be able to do more with the families in our church. I'm really interested in helping things and helping with things like marriages and families, and encouraging family discipleship in the home. And so I really want to serve our families in Wallace in that way. And I think that with the education and the experience that I have, that I'll be able to do that really well. I also want to be able to serve Wallace as a family itself as a whole. And so I'm really excited for whatever it looks like with college ministry, with family ministry, and with whatever else Wallace needs from me. I just want to be a servant of the Lord to this church. So support raising is, it can really come in a couple different forms. One that you've heard of is usually crowdfunding. This is where, typically somebody's got like a business that they're starting up, or they don't really have a clear benefactor or something like that. And so they are asking for support from people that they know. They're trying to get the word out, and people are giving money to start this kind of a business. And the second, which is really more of what I'm looking at, is on an individual basis. Usually when people are support raising, especially in the context of ministry, it's because they really are feeling called to a ministry that that ministry can't afford to pay them a salary or a wage. And so this is where I'm at. I really feel strongly called to Wallace. In fact, I approached our pastor about what it would look like to have more time on staff than what I already had. And essentially, what was told to me and what I could find out from the budget is that we just, as a church, simply couldn't afford it. And I felt really discouraged because I thought that this was a really intense call that God had placed on my life, and I was really confused because I just constantly felt this call to do more with Wallace and to plug in more and to really to take this step in being here more and doing more for the church. And I was really confused because I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know if that was a calling for me in the future or a calling for me right now. And if it was right now, how could that work? And so after a long time, probably around a year of talking to people, of praying, of trying to decide, is this from God, or is this maybe just I really enjoy it and so I want to do it? And so after a long time of trying to discern this, it became clear to me that yes, I was being called to it, and I was being called to it now. It just wasn't in a traditional way. God really wanted me to step out in faith and to rely completely on Him. And so that is what I'm doing with support raising. I'm just relying on Him completely for my provision and to provide for my family. I'm going to lean on Him in all of this. And so support raising for me is a way for me to be able to do this calling, to be partnered with by other Christians in the gospel, and just to completely rely on God. Okay. You can support me in a couple different ways. You can support me, firstly, in prayer. I would ask that you would pray that the Lord would sustain me and my family and provide for us. I would ask that you pray that God would uphold me in righteousness, that I would be living a life that is above reproach. And lastly, that God's will would be done. That through this ministry and through the ways that God and Wallace choose to use me, that it would be seeking after the kingdom of God, and that His will would be done through all of that. Secondly, you can support me by by giving. And you can give in a couple different ways. You can give a one-time gift, or you can give reoccurring monthly. You can give how often or how much you want. It's completely up to you. But I will say that that giving to me should not be a replacement of your tithing. If you find yourself in a position where you want to give to me, but you also need a tithe and you have to pick one, I want you to choose tithing. Tithing to your church is really important. It funds the ministries that your church does. And so my giving to me is not as important as tithing to your local church. A third way that you can support me is by connecting me. If you know somebody who would be interested in supporting this ministry, and you want to connect me to them, I would be really thankful for that. Yeah, there's a few different ways that you can stay up to date. I plan to upload videos monthly, just kind of explaining what all we've done each month to this website. So you can just come right back to this website. Each month I'll post a video and you can check and you can see what I've been doing with the support that you and others have been giving me. And so you'll be able to stay up to date that way. Another way is you can check out our college Instagram page and our church Instagram page, and you can follow us there and you can see what our ministries are doing that way. And then lastly, I would love if you wanted to reach out to me personally. You can email me, we can get together and meet up together in person and just talk about those things. If you ever have any questions, you can feel free to email me, text me, call me. Just get in touch with me and we can set up a time to meet or talk, and I would love to let you know what God is doing. I really appreciate you guys taking time to watch this video, and I would love if you would partner with me in the gospel in this way.